97, 98, 99. What the fuck? Hello, internet fans. It's your old pal Rottin Roger DeMarco here from 3bproductionco.com. And this is a special review. And today, we're going to be reviewing Mark Jones' 1993 classic, Leprechaun. So Christian, Hanna Horror, and I are both doing Leprechaun reviews. So you can bounce back and forth, check out what we both think of Leprechaun. So here is the plot breakdown. The Leprechaun gets tricked and put into a crate where he's sealed up for 10 years. And then he unknowingly gets released from his prison by Jennifer Aniston and her father, who are moving to this house out in the country. They accidentally let the Leprechaun loose, and he wants his goddamn gold. Pretty simple. That's about the long and short of the plot synopsis. But before we get into my overall thoughts of the film and all that other shit, first, let's take a look at
Rottin Rogers! Splatter facts.
We have 4 dead bodies. A little short on the body count this film. We have 0 titties. I know. Just as disappointed as the rest of you. We have rhyming exposition. We have city girl attitude. We have bug eating. And we have shoe shining. He can't go anywhere without shining shoes. It's hilarious. The methods of death include and basically are limited to falling down the stairs, pogo sticked, broken neck, and my personal favorite, just kidding, it isn't at all, off-screened. God damn you, off-screened. Okay, so on to my overall thoughts of the first Leprechaun film. Guys, this movie definitely has a cult following, but for whatever reason does not seem to get the real recognition that it deserves. This is a fantastic franchise starter. Warwick Davis in that makeup is badass and is every bit of a franchise villain right from the jump in this movie. So Freddy Krueger-esque in the one-liners and in the sadistic pleasure that he takes messing with his victims. I really like this movie. First of all, we're talking about the Leprechaun, so you can't talk about the Leprechaun without noticing how great that he looks, and that's credit to Gabe Bartalos and his Leprechaun effects and the design of the Leprechaun in general, making Warwick Davis nasty and creepy. Although it's very stereotypical in the Irish folklore, it's a little stereotypical, it's on the nose, but that's what adds to the charm of this movie, is that it's just so over the top and so ridiculous. You know what you're getting into when you go to the video store and you rent a Vidmark movie titled Leprechaun. This is a blast from top to bottom. Even with the small body count, you really have a fun time with this movie. It definitely was a video store staple when I was growing up. The cover art of those initial 3, especially this first one, where you get that peek of the Leprechaun just kind of looking through the door. I mean, you just know what is happening. Killer Leprechaun. Sold. That's video store marketing 101. Awesome cover, taking it home. That's how it works. So Jennifer Aniston's character, Tori, she is probably one of the worst characters in any movie. I know a lot of people hate on Joey from Friday 5, or they hate on Franklin from Texas Chainsaw, but something about that early 90s uppity, can't get dirty mentality, the way that she is in this movie, irritates me to no end. But it's one of those things where she's pretty, so she gets a pass. That sounds terrible, but it's true. You watch this movie and you're like, good Lord, I want her to die, but also kind of want her to be on screen. So Nathan, his little brother Alex, their friend Ozzy, they are 3 painters who run a company called 3 Guys That Paint. It's not really much of a company. When I was watching this again, I was kind of pointing out, like, they're sort of the worst painters ever. There's one dude who takes his job seriously. He's got his little brother as a tag along and the slow friend of the little brother. I got to thinking, like, as an adult, if I hired them, they would be fired the very same day. They literally stopped painting the house to go chase a fucking rainbow. But it's hilarious, so it's okay. Also have to point out that the two colors that they're painting that house are fucking atrocious. What people buy a house and say, you know what would look fucking great? Bright ass blue, neon red. That's good. Let's do that. They're terrible at their job. That's what I'm getting at. Learn how to paint better. Go to trade school. Learn how to paint. Tori takes a liking to Nathan. She decides that she's gonna stay instead of leaving and going and staying in a hotel while the house is getting fixed up. So she fixes them drinks. They are outside the house working, and she takes the drinks into the basement looking for him. That's something that happens a lot in these movies. They have to get these characters from point A to point B for whatever reason, for the jump scare or to let the monster out or whatever, and that's exactly what they're doing in this case. I don't hate that she takes the drinks down there. I just think it's hilarious. Similar to Friday 7, when the girl gets all spruced up and she wants to hit on the stoner. She goes outside looking for him, where she clearly walked down the steps through the living room where he was smoking, walked past him and went outside looking for him. You could say bad editing, whatever you want to say. It's a funny trope. One of the things I feel like a lot of people don't give this movie credit for, and my wife and I noticed while watching it, is that this movie does actually have a lot of heart involved. The character of Ozzy has so much heart, and the scenes with him and Alex are great when they're out in the woods. Alex sort of alludes to the fact that Ozzy has issues with his brain, and this gold can get him in operation and make him normal like everybody else. And you can see the wheels turning in Ozzy's performance, where he's like, I'm smart. Ozzy sort of captures what it's like to be a kid while being an adult. For me anyway, I feel like that scene alone just sort of touches on all of these different insecurities that you have as a child that can carry over into adulthood, and he doesn't see anything wrong with who he is. When Alex says, you know, people make fun of you behind your back, it's touchy stuff. It's very well written, and it's a cut above the rest. There's some stuff in this movie that is extremely hokey, yes, but you can't discount the small amounts of character development that happen in this movie, and I really like that scene, and I love the character of Ozzy. Warwick Davis really achieves cult villain status in this movie. So it's important to go back and watch this movie and see just how on the nose he was, how it was campy, but he was still scary enough that it would scare younger kids, and it would become a word of mouth film. And it's not until 2 and 3 and 4, etc., where he really ramps the camp, and they're completely aware of the tongue-in-cheek. They go even further and further and further with it, but this first film is very reminiscent of the first Elm Street, because they set the rules, they know what they're capable of, they know what they're allowed to get away with, and they do what they can with what they can. There's even down to the phone gag from Elm Street in this movie. One of the things that they do, since the kill count is very low, they spend a lot of time. One of the kills in particular, the leprechaun gets pulled over by a police officer, and this could have been a throwaway scene. Kill this cop off real quick, move on. They spend 10 minutes on this cop scene showing just how evil the leprechaun really is, kind of toying with this cop throughout the woods. Could have killed him at any point. I really like that scene, the cat and mouse scene with hiding behind the trees and hopping out. It's really well done. Definitely, again, reminds me of Elm Street 1. This movie is perfect for that early 90s horror. Really captures that popcorn attitude of horror at the time. It's fast-paced, it's funny, it's scary, doesn't have to rely on gratuitous nudity, doesn't have to rely on ridiculous gore gags. Yes, the leprechaun's makeup is outstanding, but there's not really a lot of gore in this film. But somehow, some way, still manages to creep out younger kids, aimed for adults, but it can be digested by children. Children can watch this, and it's awesome to watch a kid squirm when they watch Leprechaun. And they do a really good job of Nathan being the strong, big guy, making a fight between him and the Leprechaun seem believable because he gets caught in a bear trap. So then he's down on his knees. So no matter how big and tough and imposing this guy is, he's on his knees, level playing ground with the Leprechaun. So it doesn't look ridiculous. It looks like a fair fight, and it's awesome. I mean, they could have shot it a number of ways and made it super hokey, but they bring this big guy down, and the Leprechaun's in his face, biting him, and and hitting him, and everyone's trying to get him off of him. It's an excellent scene. It's choices like that that make this movie work. And the fact that he's a leprechaun, if you were to call the police and say a leprechaun is here, help, help, it's happening, which is one of my all-time favorite scenes in the movie, they're not gonna believe you. All of these things really work in favor of this film. It really sets the stage for the sequels to kind of ramp everything up. Give you nudity, give you more gore, give you more one-liners, things like that. So in my personal opinion, I think that this is an important movie. This is one of those movies that if you haven't seen, you need to seek out. If you have seen, but you know people who haven't seen it, you need to take it off the shelf, put it on, have a group of people around, watch it, laugh at it, enjoy it. It's very much a Friday night film. Big bowl of popcorn, candy, soda, pizza, lights out, laugh, have a good time. This will creep your kids out. Yes, but as an adult, this is one of those movies that you go back just to remember what it was like to be a kid. Throw it on and you can giggle at it and you can have fun with it, but it does not lose the power that it had. The older you get, the more charming it gets, the more fun it is. So in my personal opinion, this movie is popcorn as fuck. And if I have swayed you, click the link in the description and get the Leprechaun box set today, because why not? So I suppose I should probably get going, because after all, there's a lot of movies out there and somebody's got to watch them. So why not me, right?